Today we're diving into the story of one family, but their journey from Germany to the American frontier, well, it's not just their history. It's a little piece of a much bigger story, a foundational chapter of American history itself. Let's get into it.
Just take a second and try to imagine what that must have been like. Leaving everything you've ever known, your home, your language, your entire family, to cross an ocean for a dream. In the 19th century, this wasn't just some hypothetical. It was the reality for millions of people.
And out of that massive sea of faces, we're going to zoom in and follow the journey of just one family, the Griesers. Their story has it all: the hope, the struggle, and the incredible resilience of that entire era. Now, their journey is one of amazing hard work and success, for sure. But it also makes you ask a really tough question. The promise of a new life was this incredibly powerful pull, but it often came at a staggering cost.
Okay, so to really get their story, we have to start at the beginning. We've got to understand why they left in the first place. What was going on in Germany that pushed so many people, including the Griesers, to look for a future halfway across the world?
This quote, which comes from the biography that's our source for all this, just frames it perfectly. This wasn't just packing up and moving. It was a complete transformation of their entire world, a true journey to the American frontier.
And you know, the Griesers were so far from alone in this. 5.5 million Germans made this exact same journey in just one century. Let that sink in. They weren't just a single family looking for a better life. They were part of one of the largest migrations in modern history.
All right, let's meet the two people at the absolute heart of our story, Ignatius and Katharina. Before they were a family, they were just two separate individuals, born in different German villages, but their lives were running on these strangely parallel tracks.
What's so wild is just how similar their situations were. I mean, look at this. Ignatius was the fourth son out of 9 kids. Katharina was the third daughter out of 7. Now, in the very rigid world of mid-19th century Germany, this basically meant one thing. Your prospects were limited. Land, wealth, that all went to the eldest. So for younger siblings like them, the future was a big question mark. The same economic pressures were pushing both of them towards the same radical solution: America.
So where did these two separate paths finally cross? St. Louis, Missouri. Back in the 1850s, the city was a total magnet for German immigrants. It was a place where you could find a community, you could speak your own language, and, just get your feet under you in a brand new, totally unfamiliar country.
And in St. Louis, the story of Ignatius and Katharina starts to look like the perfect immigrant success story. They meet, they get married, and they start building a really prosperous life together right there on the banks of the Mississippi.
I mean, their story was the classic American dream in action, right? This idea that with skill and just relentless hard work, you could climb the ladder and build something amazing for your family, totally from scratch. For a while there, Ignatius and Katharina weren't just chasing the dream, they were absolutely living it.
This timeline just makes their progress so clear. Okay, so they marry in 1858. Just 2 years later, they've already saved up $250. But then, look at that jump over the next 10 years. By 1870, Ignatius's skill as a carpenter had grown their estate to an incredible $4,400. That was a ton of money back then, and it was definitive proof that their huge gamble was paying off.
So you're probably wondering, why leave? Why risk it all again after you've achieved so much? Well, for a lot of immigrants, financial success was one thing, but owning your own land, that was the ultimate dream. That meant permanence. It was a legacy. So the promise of their own farm pulled them west, past Missouri and Nebraska, to a final move with their 7 kids to the rugged Idaho territory.
You can just feel their optimism, can't you? This was it, the final frontier. The soil was rich, the opportunities were fresh. This was going to be the place where they finally put down permanent roots for generations to come.
And then, just like that, the dream shattered. This one stark headline from a San Francisco newspaper in June of 1879 delivered the absolute unthinkable news about Ignatius. The report is tragically short on details. It just says he had met reverses. But what does that even mean? Was it financial ruin? Was it the crushing, isolating pressure of life on the frontier? We will probably never know the full story, but the result was the same. At just 44 years old, the patriarch of the family was gone.
But this story, it doesn't end in tragedy. It transforms. The focus now shifts completely to Katharina and the almost unimaginable challenge that suddenly landed right on her shoulders.
She was just 41 years old, a widow in a remote and unforgiving territory, a world away from the home she was born into.
And she was now solely responsible for their 7 children. The oldest was 19, yeah, but the youngest was only 3 years old. The weight of their entire future was now on her and her alone.
What she did next is, well, it's nothing short of heroic. She didn't retreat. She didn't break. She kept the farm going. She found a new partner to help raise her kids. She didn't just endure. She built a community. She lived long enough to see Idaho actually become a state and to see her family flourish. She lived all the way to 83, the matriarch who simply refused to let the dream die.
So what was the ultimate result of all of this? All the hope, the tragedy, the perseverance? What is the lasting Grieser legacy?
This right here is the true legacy. Their 7 children not only survived, they thrived. Anna had 8 kids, Frank, Peter, and Adolphe, 10 children each. Charles had 10 more, dozens and dozens of grandchildren. Out on the frontier, a big family was everything. It was your workforce, your support system, your future. The family tree didn't just survive, it absolutely exploded across the Idaho landscape.
And that's the ultimate takeaway, isn't it? From just 2 young people who crossed an ocean with nothing but their skills and their hope, a family of hundreds grew. They became a pillar of their community in Genesee, Idaho, and they quite literally helped build the American West.
Their story is so unique, but at the same time, it's so universal, and it really leaves you with a powerful thought. How many millions of these untold family sagas, filled with that same hope, that same tragedy, and that same incredible resilience, are woven into the fabric of the world we all live in today?